Have you ever been prescribed sleeping pills, felt relieved to finally sleep, but then started wondering whether it was safe to keep taking them long term? Maybe falling asleep got easier, but mornings started feeling foggier. Or you noticed more forgetfulness than before, and wondered if the pills themselves were the cause. My aunt has taken sleeping medication for years, and recently shared this exact worry with me. So I looked into the actual research, connecting sleeping pills and dementia, and found something more complicated than expected. The studies genuinely disagree with each other. Today I will lay out what the research actually shows, honestly, and more importantly, explain why you should never stop these medications on your own. Here is why this deserves careful handling. Sleeping pills is a broad term covering different drug classes. Older benzodiazepine sedatives work differently from newer drugs like zolpidem, often called Z drugs, and research findings vary by class. I want to be upfront: studies on these medications and dementia do not agree. Some meta-analyses found long-term benzodiazepine use significantly increased dementia risk in older adults. Others, including a large-scale study, found no significant evidence that benzodiazepine prescriptions actually raise dementia risk in older adults. Let us look at what different studies actually found. One meta-analysis combining multiple studies found significantly elevated dementia risk with long-term benzodiazepine use. Another study observed faster shrinkage of the hippocampus, the brain's memory center, among users. A meta-analysis on zolpidem specifically found roughly a 28% increased risk of Alzheimer's. But here is the genuine twist: a major U.S. research team found no significant evidence that benzodiazepine prescriptions actually increase dementia risk in older adults. This team pointed out that earlier studies may not have fully accounted for reverse causation, meaning early dementia itself often causes anxiety and sleep problems, which then leads doctors to prescribe sleep medication in the first place. In other words, the medication might not be causing dementia already starting might be causing the prescription. Here is what matters most: this disagreement between studies tells us the field has not reached a firm conclusion. But interestingly, while the dementia connection remains debated, experts agree on something else entirely: long-term use of these medications in older adults increases fall risk, causes physical dependence and withdrawal symptoms, and creates next-day grogginess and reduced concentration. Multiple clinical guidelines recommend regularly re-evaluating long-term prescriptions in older patients for exactly these reasons. So today's real message is not that these drugs definitively cause dementia, but that understanding their genuine risks and using the lowest effective dose for the shortest necessary time, in partnership with your doctor, is the wisest approach. Now for the most important part. If you currently take sleeping pills, there is one thing you must never do. After watching this, stop abruptly on your own. Clinical guidelines explicitly warn that stopping benzodiazepines suddenly after 2 or more weeks of use carries real withdrawal risk, including worsened anxiety or, in severe cases, seizures. Recent joint clinical guidelines consistently emphasize that any reduction must happen gradually, over weeks or months, with a doctor's guidance. This is never a decision to make alone. So what can you actually do right now? First, at your next appointment, confirm exactly what medication and dosage you are taking, and how long you have used it. Then ask whether long-term continuation makes sense, or whether gradual tapering is appropriate. Second, if tapering is decided together with your doctor, combine it with non-drug sleep strategies like progressive muscle relaxation, cooler bedroom temperatures, and reduced screen time before bed, for a smoother transition. Third, if you need to continue medication, work with your doctor toward the lowest effective dose for the shortest necessary duration. Fourth, if you notice real changes in memory or judgment, report this specifically to your doctor rather than dismissing it. Here is something reassuring worth remembering. The fact that studies disagree means this issue is genuinely unresolved. So there is no need to assume your brain has already been harmed just because you take these medications. What matters now is having an honest conversation with your doctor, rather than sitting with vague anxiety. For a simple weekly plan, confirm your exact medication and duration on day 1. Schedule your next appointment on day 2, prepare specific questions. On day 3, start a non-drug sleep habit from day 4. Check in on your own memory and focus on day 5. Ask a family member if they have noticed changes on day 6 and bring your questions to your actual appointment on day 7. Sleeping pills, used appropriately for the right period, are genuinely helpful medications. What matters is regularly reevaluating their necessity with your doctor. The longer you use them, instead of worrying today, why not start by writing down one question for your next appointment? If this helped, please subscribe and share it with someone weighing this same decision.